Morning, everyone. I'd like to thank the committee for putting this awesome meeting on for the next few days. It's really a shining light, I think, for Eastern Australian geology. My presentation is going to be a little bit different. We've undergone a big change over the last 4 years up at Ravenswood. So I'll be running through, a lot of it's operational. So sorry if I bore you a little bit, but it's quite significant what we've done up there in the last 4 years. And then we'll have a PhD student, our PhD student, Hugo Serra, will present the geology side of it for you. And if we get some time, I might run through some exploration projects we're working on as well. Acknowledgement of country, we work with our Birria owners, traditional owners, and we've got a very good working relationship with them. Okay, so we're right up the end, well, pretty much up the end of the Thomson origin up there, about 100 k's south of Townsville. Northeast Queensland seems to be a bit of a forgotten cousin, I think, with Eastern geology, Eastern Australian geology. So we're looking to expand our knowledge with Hugo's work and some key partnerships with GSQ and also JCU as well. We're at the moment in steady state mining production from Buck Reef West and Sarsfield. We finished our processing plant commissioning last year. A few hiccups here and there. We're basically at a bulk open pit mining, large scale. Processing, we process 7.5 million tonnes per annum, which is a significant upgrade as to where Resolute was before EMR and Gear took over. So we're part of a privately owned consortium, half-half. Resource, we're talking about 4.76 million ounces in the ground there. And working towards pushing that into indicated and measured all the time as well. So our steady state production is looking to be between 200,000 ounces to 250,000 ounces a year, which makes us Queensland's largest gold producer. Ramp up was last year. We got a new TSF in operation as well, and we're also connected to low-cost grid power. Mining leases, nearly 30 k's of those. Exploration leases, we've got 1,275 square kilometres, so a big land holding through the district, through the Ravenswood batholith most predominantly. So our spend for last year, we put $93.2 million back into the North Queensland local economy. Spent $150,000 on community. If anyone hasn't been to Ravenswood, the mine is right in the middle of town. So we have to work with those landholders and the townspeople very closely to make sure that we're doing the right thing. We've got 447 permanent employees, most from Townsville, Charters Towers and Air. So mostly drive in, drive out. And also a contingent of 23% female, which is well above the industry average as well. So this is probably the biggest thing to happen in Ravenswood in the last 30 years, basically since they started mining there, is the upgrade to our processing facility. So we've increased our leach tanks by 200%, a new stage 3 crushing and screening plant. So essentially, crushing-wise, we get from, I think we were down 2.8 million tonnes under Resolute. Nameplate was about 5 million, and now we're up to 12 million per year. We don't process all of that, we beneficiate it. So the larger rocks we put through screens. The larger rocks are essentially waste, and we get an upgrade in our grade. We're very low grade. We run at about 1 gram per tonne is our run rate, but we're making money doing it. So it's big tonnes, low grade. And I suppose the other thing there is that all of this work was done when COVID hit, right? So it's a real testament to those project teams that got got our operation to that point. And yeah, some fantastic work done. There were some hiccups, as there always is, but we got there in the end, and I think, hopefully I can say this, but we were looking at a record month this month and a record quarter as well. So we're starting to hit those targets that we need to be hitting in terms of cash flow and paying back. We've got a photon assay, Chrysos Corporation photon assay machine on site. So we put all our mill samples through that and grade control. We're just starting to see our RC exploration samples go through there as well. They can do 70 samples an hour. So if we're talking sending our samples for assay in, say, Townsville, we're looking at a 3 to 4 week turnaround. We can get these within a few days. So it gives us that dynamic. We can change our drill plans on the run, which is a really, really positive thing that we can do with this photon assay. So that's a bit of a rundown on how that works. It goes in as about 2 to 3 millimeters crushed sample, and it's put into a bottle, goes through a robot, gets high energy X-rays thrown at it, and it gives us our results. It's automated reporting, so it's a really good process for us to use. We can do 40,000 samples a month, so it really makes a big difference to what we do, particularly in exploration, but also in the operation as well. I'll introduce Hugo up to the lectern, and he'll tell you all about our geology at Ravenswood.
Thank you, Steve. So, as Steve said, the Charles Towers province characterizes the northeastern eastern extent of the Thomson orogen. It is in tectonic contact to the north with the Broken River province, along the Croak River fault, to the south along the east-west trending Policeman fault zone that may represent the tectonic boundary between the Charles Towers province and the Anaki Inlier towards south. The significant changes of the structural trends in the region goes from north-south trends in the Anaki Inlier, east-west trending in the Charles Towers province, and northeast trending structure in the Greenville province. Throughout the province, the Neo-Protero-Cambrian Cape River metamorphics defined the basement. During the Cambrian Ordovician, deposition of volcano sediments assigned to the 70-mile range group formed the east-west belt named Mount Windsor subprovince, in which lies the Ravenswood gold deposit. From the Ordovician to the Carboniferous timeline, succession of high-tide magmatism alternated by basin infill phases developed the Ravenswood-Lulworth batholith. Hence, the Ravenswood batholiths form through 3 distinct high-tide magmatism phases, namely the first one, the Macrocene Igneous Association, in place during the Ordovician, the Parma Igneous Association during the Silurian, and the Kennedy Igneous Association over the Permo-Carboniferous period. Associated with these phases, the region coevally experienced a series of deformation events and associated gold mineralization forming different gold camps. As you can observe, according to the symbols, orogenic, intrusion-related, epithermal, volcanogenic. Ravenswood gold mine is the largest gold mine of Queensland, and the deposit style is defined as an intrusion-related gold system. Created by Dr. Greg Morrison, the North Queensland IRGS model unifies the gold deposit associated with the Permo-Carboniferous magmatism. The total gold endowment of the district represents around 20 million ounces, which can be set in comparison with the world-class Yukon-Alaska region. The Ravenswood deposit is the most endowed is the most endowed one, with combined reserve and resources above 8 million ounces. It characterized within the group a unique mesozonal vein network and stockwork deposit style that has developed away from the intrusion. Within the intrusion-related gold system group, the breccia pipe style, proximal to the intrusion, represent the most common style in the district, such as Mount Wright, located 10 kilometers north-west of Ravenswood, Kidston, that is not in the Charters Towers province, but in Georgetown, and Mount Lation, a little bit more west from Ravenswood. At local scale, the Ravenswood Gold Deposit is hosted by the Jessup Creek Tunnelite Complex, part of the Silurian-Padma-Igneous Association. The complex presents a concentric petrographic zonation from medium-grain gabbro in the core towards hornblende diorite, hornblende tunnelite, to granodiorite in the rim. Mafic xenoliths are often observed and are considered as remnants of the roof chamber incorporated into the main tunnelite phase. About the main structures, the major Plumwood fault strikes southwest-northeast and presents an apparent dextral strike slip. A little bit hidden from the symbol, the east-west trending Buck Reef fault is the dominant structure at Ravenswood and aligns with the Kirkton fault, and has been lately offset sinistrally by the north-south Jessup Creek fault. Gold mineralization age is interpreted from associated alteration minerals, cerussite and biotite, at around 310 million years. It has been observed that mineralization seems better developed within intervals showing magma mingling features with mainly tunnelite and foliated diorite. The gold mine defines two main pits, Southfield Pit that encompasses the main pit here, and the Nolan's Pit that has merged recently. To the west, Buck Reef West has been extensively developed since 2020. Since its acquisition, Ravenswood Gold has drilled 120 diamond holes around Southfield and 103 holes at Buck Reef, mainly for resource definition, and resulted into an updated resource estimation at 177 million ton at 0.7 gram per ton gold for 3.9 million ounces at 0.3 gram per ton gold cutoff, to 278 million ton at 0.53 gram per ton for 4.76 million ounces at 0.2 gram per ton gold cutoff in 2023. The alteration halo at Ravenswood define a textbook concentric metal zonation centered on A4 fault. The mushroom structure showing up and out zoning pattern from the central feeder. From the source, the metal zones are showing copper tellurium association, copper gold tellurium, gold zinc tellurium, gold arsenic lead, and at the rim, silver arsenic antimony. The best gold being within the zinc bismuth zone and declines towards the core and out. Zoning is reflected in alteration styles. Southfield is defined as HARPER, then Buck Reef, increase in chalcopyrite, secondary biotite and magnetite, particularly around diorites and gabbros. According to Morrison, the copper tellurium core, as well as the association of gold, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, and bismuth, suggests a mafic intrusion driver. However, the fluid source is not recognized yet. Mineralization in Southfield are best developed near the subvertical fault, such as Buck Reef, Area 4 and Nolans. There's as well good grades related to the southwest dipping keel fault that is inferred as a reverse fault, and the shallow dipping northeast vein arrays. The alteration is interpreted as potassic, with the mineral assemblage biotite, magnetite, albite, actinolite in the northern and western part of Southfield, and locally around subvertical structures. As I said, 4.76 million ounces gold resource has been recently defined. Resource definition is continuing in 2025. At Buck Reef West, the Buck Reef fault is interpreted as a reactivated pre-existing structure from a 100 degree Durham 2014, and a consultant, a consulting company named Allfind. The inferred dextral strike slip motion of Buck Reef fault may have acted as a transfer structure, effectively allowing structures such as Sunset, General Grant, and Duke of Edinburgh lodes to form independently. This significant development since 2020 induced a pit mapping to be done, geometric and overprinting relationships. Here are the full-hosted mineralization style. They are showing various styles of veining. Chloride silica pyrrhotite, pyrite breccia for Buck Reef fault, up to 36 meter wide. Chloride pyrite shear veinings with biotite alteration are characteristic of the Nolans fault. Quartz carbonate base metal sulfides with sericite chloride alteration are typical of Sunset, Grant, and Duke lodes. And quartz pyrite tension veins with sericite chloride alteration are showing a shallow dipping conjugate vein set. They are defining the most common vein and the bulk of the mineralization at Ravenswood. However, they are really difficult to model. Recent drilling intersected several veins with bornite. Only one hole historically logged bornite prior to these holes. So are we transitioning towards the core of the mineralization? Hence, bornite vein set needs to be incorporated within the overall paragenesis and structural model. The deposit architecture. The gold mineralization is structurally controlled. All the known mineralization styles are related to open space infill. All the geometries can be explained through progressive development of a fracture array that initiated as a conjugate fracture system. Mineralization has been variably deposited along the conjugated fractures, and linked structures intersecting at moderate to high angle. The work in 2017 from Allfind defined a unified structural model at Ravenswood. A single 3D non-plane strain pattern explains all the varying grades, distribution, and vein patterns that are observed. The major veins that are part of the categories A, B, and C veins intersection are all consistent with an orthorhombic system of faulting that affected the entire Ravenswood area. The decreasing gold endowment from A to C can be explained using this model. The multiple direction of vein intersection can be explained into three categories, depending on their gold endowment, as well as proportional to structural dilation. Category A defines the Sunset, Grant, Duke sets of vein that exhibit the maximum gold endowment and the most dilation. Category B characterizes Nolan's sets of vein, which exhibit an intersection to the southeast. And eventually, the least endowed sets of vein are seen on the pit walls, away from the main mineralization, and have sub-horizontal north-south trending. From the same model, the first order strain pattern suggests a shortening along an approximate north-south horizontal axis, with the maximum extension plunging approximately 50 degrees towards west. The regional strain features an intermediate strain axis plunging 40 degrees east, consistent with the easterly plunge of the district scale grade distribution. Why this resource project? So the primary objective is to influence exploration activities in the near mine environment to promote resource growth by providing a better understanding of the deposit genesis within the regional setting. The contributors of this PhD that are going to do this effort of research along my side will be Dr. Johan Stanislav and Daniel Wimmer from JCU, Steve Harper, Exploration Manager at Ravenswood Gold, and two external consultants, Brett Davis and Greg Morrison. The aim is to establish at various scale structure igneous permeability timelines that can be compared, linked, or ascribed relative to overprinting relationships, establishing the various geological histories that incorporate the paragenetic associations and structural histories for the different mineralized systems and ore bodies. After all of this is done, absolute age dating analysis of the geology event, intrusion, alteration, mineralization, and gold, including the spatial distribution within the deposit. Here are the key points of the PhD that would define my 4 chapters. Geological setting, identify the relationship between regional and deposit structure. Intrusion, alteration, mineralization, paragenesis of the Ravenswood gold deposit. And then absolute timing, as I said, of intrusive events in relation to alteration and structure and mineralization. Eventually, absolute timing of the gold mineralization, rhenium, osmium dating on molybdenite and pyrite.
Thanks, Hugo. So we at Ravenswood see this as a really good opportunity to expand our knowledge in the area, but also target further mineralisation in the area. The fact that we have this big hungry mill, which can take some low grade, sort of sets us up to look at some of those old historic projects that didn't quite get across the mark in the past. So it gives us a really good opportunity to go and have a rethink about a few of our projects in the area. One of those projects is Donnybrook, which is about 8 km south of our mill along the Burdekin Falls Dam Road. We've got a set multi-vein prospectivity here. There's some of the more or the better results on those drilling over the last couple of years. Looks like stacked veins dipping towards the south. Skinny but low grade, but also that we can dig this free dig straight from surface. So we'll do a lot more work in there. We've got one diamond hole in there to have a look at that. And that it's basically controlled by a diorite gabbro intrusion, similar to what we see at Sarsfield, surrounded by granodiorite. And we'll look to work towards a maiden resource there over the next couple of years. We've got Milne's Reward, which links up with the Welcome Breccia down to its southeast. And that's a shear hosted mineralisation and some fantastic grades there for us. And if we can tie that into the Welcome Breccia and some of those other structures in this area, we could sort of have a standalone project up at Bingala and truck it down to our mill. One minute. All right, this is Helena. Fender Geophysics are going to do 2D gradient array IP survey over this in the next couple of, or next month. And we're looking, it's under a shallow cover, probably 3 to 5 metres. So we're looking at where those veins go. We've got indicators that there's multiple veins sitting in there. Some of the bigger or the larger veins stick up out of the cover, but we want to know what's going on underneath. Historic drilling's been hit and miss along strike, so there's something else going on there. And I think we'll leave it there. Thank you very much.